Hey guys, good morning. I just wanted to jump on and have a really quick chat with you guys around the measles. I've had loads of questions from family, friends, and clients over the weekend, but also over the last couple of weeks with the outbreak and stuff going on. So I just wanted to jump on and run you through the latest information so that everyone knows where they're at. So with the measles, basically symptoms of the measles, I'm just making sure that I'm answering all your questions because I've got a list of stuff over here. So symptoms of the measles are fever, cough, runny nose, sore and watery eyes. It's almost like pink eyes, sort of conjunctivitis, and a rash. So if you catch the measles, you can infect others from 5 days actually before any of those symptoms appear. So it's highly contagious and it spreads from person to person through the air. So obviously there's a huge outbreak in Auckland at the moment. Canterbury's had an outbreak. There's another lot happening in Queenstown at the moment. So measles is everywhere throughout New Zealand. So it's really, what's a highly contentious subject at the moment, and something that everyone's talking about. So in terms of immunising, that's going to be your best protection against getting the measles and also protecting your children. So the measles or MMR vaccine, which is measles, mumps and rubella vaccine, is free to everyone under the age of 50, and it's 99% effective after 2 doses. So obviously on the schedule, babies are immunised at 15 months and again at 4 years of age. Now, if you have a baby that is around 12 months of age, you can get your vaccine early. They've brought the vaccine forward on the schedule to 12 months, and you can get your second vaccine as early as 4 weeks after that first vaccine. Now, the ministry has 2 priorities. So the priority 1 is to vaccinate all children on time, so at 15 months and 4 years. But as I said, you can bring that forward to 12 months and again have that first one 4 weeks after. So if you have 2 lots of vaccines at 12 months, you don't need to have the 1 and 4. Now, there's also information for babies under 12 months of age as well, which we'll go through in a moment. But the second priority for the ministry is to ensure that groups most affected by the outbreak get the vaccine, so particularly children under 4 and those between 15 and 29 years of age. So there's drop-in clinics, especially in Auckland, and there's loads of clinics throughout the country that are vaccinating for the MMR. And as I said, that is free for people under 50. Now, pregnant women cannot get immunised against measles. So if you're pregnant and think you may have the measles or have come in contact with it, you need to call your GP, lead maternity care or Healthline. So the Healthline number is 0800 611 116. Now, advice for infants. So if you've got a baby under 12 months of age, like me, it's quite stressful because obviously, you know, they don't have a lot of protection. So obviously breastfeeding is your best way to protect them. But the other way to protect them is, and really one of the most important ways to protect them is to protect them by having all your family members vaccinated. So and any carers and things, making sure that they've had their 2 vaccines. So infants 12 to 15 months old who live in Auckland should be obviously having the MMR vaccine immediately. And if you're travelling to Auckland, you should make sure that your child has had their vaccine as well. So as I said, the first vaccine will immunise 90 to 95%, and the second vaccine will immunise you up to 99%. So I hope that makes sense. Now, infants who are 6 to 15 months travelling overseas should receive an early dose of the MMR vaccine at least 2 weeks before travelling to the country with an active measles outbreak. So there's a number of countries, including Hong Kong, US and Canada, as well as parts of Europe and Southeast Asia. And obviously New Zealand is going through that as well. So if your baby does get their MMR vaccine before their first birthday, they still need the usual doses of the vaccine at 15 months and 4 years to ensure full immunity. Now, if you're between the ages of 15 and 29, you need to check your immunisation records to make sure that you've got 2 doses of the MMR vaccine as a child. And if you didn't receive 2, or you don't know whether you received 2, then you need to get your second dose. Those over 50 have likely been exposed to measles, or we consider them immune, because measles was very common back then and don't need to be immunised. So, yeah, as I said, make sure you're getting the vaccine 2 weeks early or 2 weeks prior if you're going to Auckland. The vaccine does take 2 weeks to take effect. So let me just check. We've gone through now. Lots of questions have been asked as well about how serious measles is. So obviously it was common back in the day. Why is everyone in such a flap about getting the measles vaccine? But the risk and complications of death are higher in children under 5 years and adults over 20 years of age. So anyone also with a weakness in their immune system is at greater risk of serious disease. And the complications with measles are huge. So it's actually 1 in 10 will end up hospitalised with if you do contract measles. So it's really, really high. So we've talked about preventing that, we've talked about the vaccine, the safety of the MMR vaccine. So the risk of the MMR vaccine causing serious harm is actually extremely rare, and immunisation against measles is considerably safer than getting the disease. So really, really important to make sure everyone is vaccinated. No evidence that MMR causes autism. Obviously, there's been loads of that in the media, so I'm sure everyone's up to speed with all of that now. So yeah, during an outbreak, so with the babies between 6 and 12 months, so I've got Harper who's 8 months old, so they can get vaccinated and have their vaccine early in conjunction with their GP. So you do need to speak to your GP, and if they are happy for your baby to have the vaccine early, then that's something that certainly can be done. So the criteria for immunising babies under 12 months of age or between 6 and 11 months is if you're travelling to overseas to a country which has a measles outbreak, or on parental request if there's concerns about high risk of exposure to measles and your GP is happy for the administration of the MMR vaccine. So if your child is between 6 and 11 months of age and they do have their vaccine, that's considered dose 0. So they will still require, as I said before, the 2 doses of the MMR vaccine from 12 months of age. So I hope that clears up. I'm just checking that I've answered all of your questions. And so yeah, you can give the MMR vaccine early. We've talked about the MMR vaccination covering 90 to 95% of people who are fully vaccinated are fully protected from the measles. And so the first dose is a priority for the ministry, and then second doses can be requested by parents as well. So look, I hope that's answered some of your questions. If you do have any other questions, please feel free to pop them below. I am a registered vaccinator as well, and I totally understand how stressful it is. We've had Harper, as I said, vaccinated on Thursday, and obviously it takes 2 weeks to take effect, so she's sort of in quarantine mode until then. But I hope that answers some of your questions, and feel free to share this post and pop any questions below if that's going to help some of your family members or friends. And yeah, hopefully we can stop the spread of the measles. Thanks, guys.